because there's a lot of venues that say, oh, we do catering, we do decor, we do the balloons and everything. You're going to get overwhelmed. I've done it. I've been there. I'm telling you from experience. You will not have a quality of life and you will burn out. Burnout is real in this industry.
Hi again, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm bringing back someone that I know a lot of you are really excited to see because it's one of the most viewed video on this channel. Today I have Bonnie Hawthorne with me today, and she's going to be sharing a very popular topic, and it's about how to start an event venue. Yes, I know this is a question I get a ton all the time. So Bonnie, if you've never watched that video, she has over 11 years in the business. She's doing venue coaching and she's a venue consultant. Bonnie's also owned a number of venues herself. You can always check her out on her own YouTube channel as well, which I'm going to link down below, or you can visit her website if you are looking to start a business and you need help with that. But I'm going to jump right in and ask Bonnie all the questions that you guys have been asking. And if you have more questions, just drop them below this video and Bonnie will answer them for you. Hi, Bonnie. Welcome back to the channel.
Hey, Jody, thanks for having me. Good to see you.
It's really nice having you here because as you know, this video was one of the most viewed videos on the channel, and people were commenting and emailing and messaging every single day asking about the venue business. And often I'm referring them to your channel, but still sometimes they still come back. So I wanted to bring you in to just do an update on the video because I know so many things has changed since we recorded that in, was it 2020? It's been a
I
while.
think it was. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
Bonnie, I really just want to jump in and give everyone all the juice and meat that they're waiting for. I don't want to keep them waiting. So
Okay.
here's my first question for you. If I'm a new like I'm a new venue owner or I want to be a venue owner, what are some of the first steps? I don't know anything about the venue business. What are some of the first steps that you would recommend that I start with?
Okay, first I would say if you've never owned a business, I would say go to the SBA and get smart about how to run and operate a business. But also you need to be diligent in your research. You need to know who your competitors are. What is going to be your niche? Who is your customer? You really need to get down into the weeds and really research. Also, join some organizations like Aaliyah, and organizations like that. Also, you can go to attend Wedding MBA. They have different seminars for venue owners, and if you're a new venue owner, new to the industry, there's a plethora of information there. And not only that, you can connect and meet with other venue owners and build some relationships. So I would say from day one, research, research, research. And I know people think, oh, I can just jump right in, but I can truly say, if you don't know who your customers are, you don't know who you're serving, you don't know about their economics, their backgrounds, then you're not going to be able to start on a good footing. So that's what I would say: SBA and research.
So what you're saying is it's important to have kind of some knowledge about how to operate a business if you want to start on the right foot, if you want to be
Yeah,
successful eventually.
Yeah, you need to have a great foundation. It's like building a house, right? You have to have a strong foundation in order to build up. And it's the same thing in business. Learn, your profit loss statements. Learn, how you going to generate your expenses. And if you need to move expenses around, how are you going to do that? Learn how you do your market research. The SBA has online course that'll teach you about market research if you don't know how to start that. So yeah, you need to have a strong foundation
And for
in
anyone
business.
listen, SBA is
Excuse me, the Small Business Administration.
okay,
So and
perfect.
also colleges and universities, they have corporate cooperatives that work with the SBA, Small Business Association, where you can go and get some training too in business. But like I said, they have information from everything from pricing to market research, funding, anything that you need to start your business. The Small Business Administration, they have the knowledge and they have the information that can set you up for success. And I tell people that all the time. You get so excited and you want to, pull the horse before the cart before the horse, but take the time and learn what the industry is all about, and you're setting yourself for success.
No, I completely agree with that. Now, someone that started a lot of businesses where I just dived in, I jumped in, didn't do a lot of research, and I kind of learned a lot by trial and error. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it.
Yeah,
I think it is important to do the research to kind of understand the industry or at least the business that you're going into before you get into it. Because then you kind of have an idea of what to expect, even if you still don't have the experience, you kind of know what
right.
to look out for sometimes. Would you agree?
Yeah. And also, I would say, it's good to get that experience, but if you've never hosted an event, you know, team up with some industry professionals. And like I said, you can go to networking events, industry networking events and meet professionals. You might want to go see a wedding planner, or maybe a florist, or someone needs some help on the weekends, or maybe even a venue. Just go to a venue owner and say, "Hey, I'm thinking to maybe start a venue, and I would like to see how you operate." And some are open to it, because people are always saying, "Oh, they're not going to do that." People are very open to that. I know when I have my venue, people will come in and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a venue. What do I need to do?" And I would say, "Hey, come in this weekend, and I can show you." And then once I'm telling you, sometimes when they see you set up, break down the behaviors and personalities and everything going on, they think, "Oh, maybe I need to rethink this." So go work with someone and get some hands-on experience to see if this is something that you want to do 24/7, 365, because it takes a lot. It's a lot, and it takes up your you have to have learn how to do work-life balance, because it takes up your weekends and things like that. So you definitely want to get some hand-on experience as well.
So let's say now I've gone and done all of that. I've done the shadowing, I've done the research. I kind of have some idea of the fundamentals about how to operate the business. What would you say is my step number two? Now, do I just go and buy a building or buy a venue?
No, I think if anybody's listened to the previous video or come to my YouTube channel, you know what I'm going to say. Zoning. You must go to zoning. If you're going to build, you're going to lease, whatever you're going to do. If you're going to have a venue on your own homestead, your own property, you must go to zoning and make sure it's zoned properly. And you have to have the fire marshal come in to make sure that everything is in compliance. And do this before you, if you're leasing, do this before you lease the property. And one thing I want to say, and to drive this home, if you can, have zoning and the fire marshal come together, because sometimes the zoning will tell you one thing, fire marshal will tell you one thing, and then when you're ready to open, there's all kind of little things that you have to go back and do. But that's what you need to do. Go to zoning, and go to the fire marshal, have them come in and assess the property, see what the capacity is, if you need sprinklers, if it's handicap accessible, all those things, and zoning will give you a list. And also, if you go to our website, there's checklists there that tell you the questions to ask the fire marshal and zoning, so that you don't miss anything. But if all possible, get them there together. So that's going to be your next step: zoning and the fire marshal, before you sign any lease, before you do anything to break any grounds, before you do any renovations. Like I said, don't get excited and miss those steps, because they will close you down, or they will close you down and fine you. So make sure that you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed with zoning and the fire marshal.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a couple of different options to get into the venue game. So from what I heard you say, you mentioned, breaking ground. So it sounds like I could do it on my own property if I have, a space for a venue. I could lease something, or there's the option of just purchasing a property outright. Does that sound correct?
Right. But like I said, do your research first. Once again, to know what you're going to do. If, like, say for instance, I now have an Airbnb, right? And so we're zoned for an Airbnb. So now I need to go back and see if we can be zoned for baby showers, and things of that nature, special events. So yeah, you can do it on your own land if you're zoned properly, and the fire marshal and zoning come out and say yes. And they may tell me, you need to do this before you can do that. Because we are on the lake, right? So they might say, "Hey," and you might have to put fencing up or gates or something. But being on the lake, I cannot put that up so many feet from the lake. So There's a lot of things when you go to do it on your own homes. Bathrooms, do you have bathrooms that are handicap accessible? Also, when you're leasing, what's the capacity? Do you have is it handicap accessible? What about your bathrooms? Are you going to have catering? Do you need hoods, grease traps? If you're building, that's another thing. Just the construction cost and zoning has to come out, and the fire marshal have to come out every stage and do your approval. So all of it has different rules, but like I said, in each one, no matter which one you pick, you're going to deal with zoning and the fire marshal. So I often tell people, if you're first starting, lease something small, learn how it operates, and then grow. Maybe you'll make enough money you can buy your own property, or you can build your own property. But if you have the property and you have like 8, 9, 10 acres, whatever it is, maybe start at home. Start there. But once again, zoning, because noise ordinance, are you in a neighborhood? And like I said, each has their own set of rules, policies, and procedures. So that's why I always hammer to people: zoning, zoning, zoning.
So from the sounds of it, Bonnie, it sounds like if I skip over the zoning part and just jump into the start in the venue, I could run into a lot of issues. Is that correct?
Truly, you can be, like I said, you can be shut down and fined. And let's be honest, there is liabilities that you're responsible for. If you don't go through the proper channels, someone come and they trip, and they could take everything from you. People are always saying, "Oh, get an LLC and you're protected." When you have bodily harm and injury, and you don't have insurance and things like that, and you haven't gone through the proper channels, you could lose everything. So do things the right way. Go to zoning, get your insurance and things like that, and just be legal. Because I know there's a lot of venues. I mean, there was just an article in the paper here from Birmingham, Alabama, where someone was operating illegally, and it was just a mess. It was a pure disaster. You know, they were fined, they were sued. There was a fire in the building. It was just, I mean, a plethora of disastrous things that happen. I couldn't even. I'm like, who would do that? But there are people that do it. They do everything under the table. They don't follow the rules, and now these people, they're in hock, truly.
And I think some people start with good intentions sometimes, but just without the knowledge, right? They just
Yeah.
jump in because they're so excited, as you said earlier, and they just forget to do all the actual, like, fundamental and foundational stuff
hmm
that's important.
like I was saying, if they would go small business association, for instance, if you go to the small business association, if you go to their website, there's even business plans, there's checklists and everything there to tell you how to start a business, and things and steps that you need to take to actually do this. So in the age of technology and Google, I don't think there's any reason for anybody to do anything illegal, because it's at our fingertips. And people say, "Oh, I don't have a computer at home." Okay, the library does. Okay, so there's no
And you have a
reason not to.
phone. A lot of people have a phone.
Yes. Yeah, so it's just no reason not to do everything that, and the shortcuts are going to cost you as well. If they tell you to go, if the zoning comes in and they tell you that I mean, you have to have, handicap bar rails in your bathrooms, you need to put them. If the fire marshal comes out and tell you you can only have 150 people in, or whatnot, what have you, you can only have 150 people in the space. Because if they come out, they will close you down and fine you. So, even if you have to tell people, and I mean, I've had to tell people, "Hey, you're over your allotted amount of people for the capacity of our building. Someone's going to have to leave, and I'm sorry, but it's in our contract and everything like that. So you have to make some hard choices and hard decisions, but you're legally responsible for it."
Thank you for that, Bonnie.
Mhm.
So now I've done my research. I've brought in the fire marshal and zoning. I leased my property, and they're like, "You're good to go." What's my next step?
Well, if you have to do renovations, of course you need to bring someone in to do the renovations. Again, zoning is going to come out and make sure everything is done along the steps, because they're going to follow you through the process to make sure that everything is done properly.
Oh, I did
Um,
not know that.
Yeah, and then you have the fire marshal. They're going to come out, because you have to have the exit lights and things of that nature. So through the process, once you get the building, there are things you have to do also if you're going to bring it up to code or whatnot. And there may be things that you don't have to do to bring it up to code or any renovations. You can just get started. But then you need insurance. You need your equipment. How are you going to get your equipment? Or did you expense for that? Your tables, your chairs, your linens, or are you going to subcontract it from a local rental company? Or are you going to buy everything yourself? If you're going to, I'm just going to tell you, linens are disposable. I would never tell a venue to have their own linens because that's another expense. Dry cleaning, washing, clean, subcontract them out. There is companies out here that you can subcontract linens out. They will mail them to you. You get a bag, you throw them back in there and you mail them back. And that's the best way because and they take up a lot of room. And it's just a lot of maintenance. And even like I said, if it's not in your budget to purchase chairs and tables, have a sole source agreement with the rental company. Say, hey, we will only use you if you can give us a discounted rate or whatnot, what have you. Just work with local businesses, and then when you have the money and you can afford it, then go out and purchase some equipment. But you can also, there's a lot of venues and rental companies that are closing and they are selling things. But one thing I tell you about that, lay eyes on the equipment. Just don't take somebody's word that they're good. I mean, you don't want wobbly chairs, shaky
Yeah.
tables, because honey, if somebody's cake falls off a table, you're ruined because word
Yeah.
of mouth will ruin you. So just be diligent when you're purchasing secondhand things. But I'd say in the beginning, just rent the items, subcontractor through a rental company, and they'll drop them off or and pick them up. Or you can maybe have something where you just pay them on a monthly basis, for the items. So that's what I would say. But and then like I said, marketing, you're gonna have to market. But once again, that comes back to your research. What are you going to price? You have to price competitively. So you need to go to your competitor's website, look at their packages and things like that. But also when you're pricing, if you have vendors, you want to work with those vendors to see what their pricing is. Okay, you just don't want to go to somebody's website and copy their packages off, right? Because you may lose. You may not make any money. The vendors could be charging way more than what they've structured their vendors to do.
Okay, I love that, Bonnie. And I'm gonna dive a little deeper into one of those, but let me just sum it up for everyone watching. So we start with the business foundation, we get the zoning and fire marshals in. From then, once you have your approvals, you can jump into looking at if you need to do renovation and everything to kind of fix the space to what you ideally want it to be. And then you said the next step is looking at more of your marketing and your pricing and all of that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's dive a little bit into pricing because you said something that I thought was funny, and I know we've discussed this like offline. So pricing, I know, is like a tricky one for some people. And when you're
Hmm.
new and you don't know what to do, what a lot of people will do is like you mentioned, they'll go to a competitor's website and just copy their pricing, not understanding how they even came up with that price.
Right.
So, in your experience, like what are some tips that you would suggest someone can use to come up with the best price for them? Even if you see your competitors charge an X amount, not to copy, but like what are some tips you can do for yourself to come up with the best price for your venue?
So when I first started, because I moved from Pensacola to Atlanta and I didn't know anybody. So what I did, I went to the Wedding Bar in the Knot, which is, the Knot. And so I went there, found vendors in my area, set up meetings with them, told them what my vision was, can we have like, uh, a low budgeted price, medium and high budget, right? And so they gave me their price. So on our website, you will see that we have a pricing calculator. So you go in, you put their prices in, and then you put what you need to make, and it'll calculate like what you're going to make for the entire year, right? So that's what you want to do. So you want to be able to, and you'll put your expenses and everything like that. But you just can't say, oh, I'm going to charge $75 for a bouquet. You have to know because the florist, they're going to order the flowers, they're going to do the work, they're going to deliver them. So you don't know what their rate is. And I'm telling you, I see so many people say, oh, I can do it myself. Don't overwhelm yourself. Work with vendors, build those relationships because they have clients and they can bring you clients and vice versa. So, but you don't want to belittle or demean your vendors by saying, oh, $75 is too much.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, they gotta account, they gotta make money too. Just like you want to make money, your vendors want to make money. So, treat them as you would want someone to treat your business. So, but like I said, um, florists, wedding planners, and you want to get several of them, so you can see which is going to work best for your business and make everybody money. It's about everybody as a cohesive team in the end. It's just not about your venue and it's just not about you, because when people think that you don't have the same thoughts about their business, then it's hard to get other vendors to come in and work for you. So you must understand, contact the vendors and see what their pricings are. And if those prices align with your business model, then you can build packages from there. But I just also I say to people, you can't do everything, because there's a lot of venues that say, oh, we do catering, we do decor, we do the balloons and everything. You're going to get overwhelmed. I've done it, I've been there. I'm telling you from experience, you will not have a quality of life and you will burn out. Burnout is real in this industry. Get your vendor teams together and ask them their prices, and that's how you can competitively price your packages.
And do you see in your experience, Bonnie, a lot of venues offering packages versus just rental, or do they do a mix of both?
I would say do a mix of both, because people are busy, and they don't want to run all over town looking for cake designers or florists or everything. So if you have a one-stop shop, I mean, people are more apt to go with that. And then just, and for those that want to do it themselves and they have their own vendors, yeah, let them bring them in. And you can also have a preferred vendors list. But sometimes people will say, well, I want to use my own vendors. Let them do it. Let them bring their own vendors. Don't say, well, you have to use my list, because then you're gonna yeah, miss out on some business and some great opportunities to learn about some new vendors that may be coming into the market or the area.
When people do outside vendors, though, are they usually like policies that need to be in place that limit them just for, your liability purposes, or is that usually just preference?
Yeah. So any vendor that comes into my business, they must have insurance, because we all know there's people that say, I'm doing this from home, I really don't need insurance. Yes, you need insurance if you're going to come in my venue. And I would tell any venue that you want to have reputable vendors, and I know a lot of people say, well, I just do balloons. It doesn't matter. Balloon arch can fall on somebody. And then who's going to absorb the liability? The venue? No, the vendor should. So I would say just make sure that they're professional. They have a registered business. They have insurance. So yeah, I would just QC my vendors when you're interviewing them. Have a list of questions, and those should be in it. Are you a registered business? Do you have insurance? And and I do. I ask them for a copy of their insurance. Yeah, because my insurance will tell me, especially like if for liquor,
Yeah,
I
that's
at my
permanent.
venue, yeah, at my venue, I don't sell liquor. So whoever the bartender is or whatever, or the caterer, they must have liquor liability insurance, and so I keep that on file in case there's any mishaps. Yeah. Mhm.
I love that. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Now, the next piece you touched on was marketing. Now, I know a lot of, as someone who's in the marketing space, I can say this, a lot of business owners will do the like, I build it, they will come kind of marketing approach,
Mm,
which I don't recommend. Do you have
mhm.
any tips in terms of for event venues about marketing? Like, what are some things they can do once they've started the venue to market their business?
I don't know if you guys know, but when I was a wedding planner, Jody was my coach. So I've learned so much about marketing. And one of the big things that I learned about for that venue owners fall short is blogging, because it helps to increase your SEO. And the Google business page, a lot of people don't have information on their Google business page, right? They don't have
At all.
phone numbers, addresses, or anything like
Yeah.
that. So how are people going to find you? But the thing is, that I learned from Jody was my blogs, my keywords, And also, as a venue, there are a plethora of free platforms that you can list your business on. Actually, we also have a template on our website for that. And you just go in,
I'll
you
link
list your
that template
business.
down below for you guys.
Yeah. So list your business and that helps your SEO. That helps you get found. I find that I got found a lot on a website called Eventective. And yes, you do pay for that, but I'm telling you, I got so much business from Eventective. So listing on these directories, blogging, having your Google, your business page set up on Google is just and constantly when you have events, you want to go to your Google page and put your new photos and do your tags so people can find you. If you do a baby shower, put baby shower, wedding anniversary, anniversaries, and things like that. And people don't do that. And I mean, I can pull up 3 or 4 venues right now that's probably in my area. There's no new photos, there's no blogs that I can go to their Instagram. People are asking questions. They're not engaging with them. They're not going through and answering those questions. All that helps you with your SEO, and it helps you get engagement and people understand who you are, what you're doing, where you are, what you're about, what you host, and things like that. I mean, they think it's just about putting pretty pictures out there. And one thing I do notice, people think hashtags are irrelevant now, and they're not. I mean, still put your hashtags in there. I mean, I just go down, I see people just putting pictures. Nothing.
Yep.
That's it. But people want to know, more about it. And also, as I learned from Jody, it helps you get found. Like hashtag I'm in Pell City, Alabama. Hashtag Pell City. Hashtag Alabama. So if someone's new, you're going to populate when they search you on Google. So that's one of the biggest things. And have open houses. And invite other vendors in when you have the open houses. So it keeps your expenses down. You'll have a florist that they can put the do your florals. You have a caterer that does little appetizers. Get a photographer in, and post all this stuff. Go live, go, and even TikTok, go on TikTok, put your videos and whatnot on TikTok. And people don't even understand. Like, for instance, I couldn't even fathom this, that when I had my venue in Douglasville, just going in, open the door, walking around, giving people a little QC of what's in the space. I got so many views on it, and I did it with my iPhone. I didn't have to have a professional videographer to come in. I even went downtown because people said, "Oh, so where's the photo ops?" Go do a walkabout in your town or what around your building and show people where photo ops are and things like that. And that all that is marketing.
Yeah.
And people they skip out on that. But like I said, venues, you fall short on blogging, and that really increases your SEO. And I'm telling you, I mean, truly, Jody can say when I was a wedding planner, I was in, I don't know what page I was on. I was on page maybe 400 and something. But then when I started blogging, I mean, I was on the top 2 to 3 pages.
Yeah.
And even when I had a venue, I was at least on the second page just because of my blogging. So marketing is very important, and it's just like I said, and wonder if social media goes down.
Yeah.
Just think about it, right? So how are you going to get found? So you need to get yourself on those platforms. You need to do your blogs, um, and networking is key. Have open houses, and don't just think open houses on the weekends. Have them during the weeks. I mean, I used to do my venue tours on Wednesdays, in the evenings, because and I got more engagement from that because on Saturdays and Sundays are slotted for events. So those are just some key things that I think you should do as far as marketing. But also, you have to know your competitors, so you can see what you can market, how differently you can set yourself apart when you're marketing from your competitors as well.
Guys, Bonnie just gave us so much information. We should be paid for this. But I'm just saying, like, Bonnie, thank you for that. Like, you gave so many really good tips. And I couldn't agree with you more. I've seen so many businesses, especially wedding venues or event venues, who don't claim their Google business listing, which to me is mind blowing only because
Hmm.
when you're local and you have a physical location, it's one of the fastest ways to get found by a potential client. So thank you for dropping that one, Bonnie.
You're
Bonnie's
welcome.
other tip that really stood out to me was where she talked about just doing a live or just doing a video with your phone showing the venue. I think a lot of venues rely on like these really professional venue tour videos that they have on their website, which people will watch if they come to your site, but if they're finding you through another platform like social media, they might not have made it that far. So those are the videos where you're showing a very real instant like view of the space are really good. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for that, Bonnie. Oh my God.
You're welcome.
Now, is there any other tips in terms of starting that you would drop next? Because I have some questions that people are submitted that I'm dying to ask you after this.
Yeah, so the only thing is, I just want people to understand that, from when we did our interview a couple of years ago, we're in a different economic landscape. So
Definitely.
you really, really want to do your research before starting anything. I mean, anything, because people, are kind of holding on to their purse strings right now. And so this might be an opportunity for you to look for a venue that may be established, that may be suffering, that you can partner with someone instead of starting your own. But also, that will give you someone that you can work with that has a wealth of knowledge. So just understand that the consumer behavior has changed, and so you need to have something that stands out, that make you different, that wow factor to get those people in your door. So do your research and see really what's going to make you stand out in the market and give people that wow factor. You have to know what your superpower is going to be. All right. So and that's truly important. So that's one thing I just wanted to throw in there, Jody.
Ah, thank you so much for that, Bonnie.
Mhm.
And I love where you said, to research your competitors, because I think that will help. Once you understand how your competitors are marketing, what their superpower is, it will help you to understand how you can better position yourself. So thank you for mentioning that,
Mhm.
guys. Okay, I've said this before. Bonnie dropped a ton of tips, and I'm going to ask her some of the questions that you guys were leaving us. So here's one of the ones that I had for you, Bonnie. Someone says, what if I have no money? What's the lowest cost way that I can start a event venue? Like, what's the lowest cost I can come in? And I think you kind of touched on that though. You said look for businesses that might be, in
Right.
trouble that you could kind of rescue.
Yeah, that's my number one thing. Look for a venue that you can go in and maybe invest in, or if you have a property and it's properly zoned, start there. It doesn't matter how small it is. I mean, you can start with things like baby showers. I mean, 20 people for baby shower, 15 people for baby shower. You can do elopements for 10 people if you have just a small space. So those are the things I say. Look at what you may already have available to you, or look for a venue that you think that may be suffering and go in and see if you can invest with them. And I think that's the easiest way, that's low cost. Or, if you have a certain amount of money and you can start an intimate venue, that can be a low cost also. You find a space that the rents are, and the overhead is not so costly. That's another way that you can start.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Bonnie. The next question I have is, what are some costs that I can expect? So if I'm new to the space, I'm new to the industry, what are some things that I could potentially budget for? And I know you won't have exact number on this because everyone watching this video will be coming from different places, cities, states, countries. So what are some, estimates that you can offer us in terms of costs?
You look at, I mean, people don't think about internet, right?
Mhm.
The cost of internet. I mean, it used to be fairly inexpensive, but look at those costs. Internet costs can be anywhere, depending on the speed, it can be in from anywhere from $100 to $200 a month or more. Um, but one thing, when we talk about costs, this is what I want to say. You always want to make sure, no matter how much money you have that money set apart for a rainy day. Because I'm going to share an experience with you that was mind blowing for us. We had a 10,000 square foot venue. The heating system went out, and we had a venue. I mean, we had an event in 2 days. $20,000 to get this heating system up and operational.
Oh,
$20,000. And so, if someone's already paid their money, they don't care. if I have to come out $20,000, I had to find someone that I can make payments with, but to get this done in 24 hours, So, those hidden costs, you always, I mean, water, plumbing, plumbers are $125 an hour or more now, right? Electricians can be anywhere from 150 to 250. So if you have a short or anything like that, but I just say, for any expenses, have a slush fund where you can pull from. And a lot of people don't do that. People will call their, and I know there's some things, circumstances you just can't help. If you have
Yeah.
a natural disaster and it's flooding and things like that, that can't be helped. But still, you have to have money and insurance to cover those. But, like expenses for your equipment and supplies, those things have to be replaced after over time. People don't realize that there's weight restrictions for chairs and things like that. And after they get wobbly and this, that, and other, they're unsafe. You need to replace those. So you need to have money for that. Also, if you're going to do the linens, like I said, linens are one of those disposable things. You got to have money put back for that. Your insurance, are you going to pay monthly or are you going to pay yearly? If you pay yearly, you get a discount. So think about things like that. So you need to expense that out properly. There's just so many hidden expenses that may just come up. But that's why I always say, have money for a rainy day. Um, like I said, again, your insurance, search around, shop around for these things and see who's going to give you the best value that's going to cover you for liability, bodily damage, replacement of any equipment or anything that gets broken, stolen, or whatever. So, just shop around for those kind of things and just really think through how. And I tell people this is me, but depending on the size of your venue, right? So now I have a 10,000 square foot home, which we have a 1,500 square foot party room space. And so I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like last week, some kids were hanging on our door at the Airbnb. We hadn't thought about, well, we're gonna need a new door, right? So we had to get a new door. So that's an expense. That was like $450. It actually came almost to 1,000 by the time we had it installed and painted. Then we had an apple tree, which I just got it cut down, right? That cost me another $600 to get an apple tree cut down because the kids were throwing apples at the windows and breaking our windows. So the replacement of our of our windows was another $750. See what I'm saying? Those expenses.
Yeah.
So they add up over time. So just have that slush fund so that you can take care of those things in a timely manner, and you don't have to cancel any of your events.
Guys, I'm going to do one even better for you. So Bonnie is going to link, we're going to drop it below this video, and it's a list of just expenses you can expect when you're operating a video. It won't have specific costs because, as I said, you guys are all in different areas, but it's a really good list if you're starting out, just of what you can expect, some areas you can look at so you can kind of plan ahead if you're thinking about starting a venue. So I'm linking that down below. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for providing that.
Mm-hmm.
Two other questions for you. So the
Okay.
first one is, this is about profitability, because I think so many people are trying to start a venue and everybody wants to do it. But I know ultimately they want to do it for the money, right? You want to make money, you want to make a profit, you want to have a successful business. This is how you build and grow your life itself, right? So what do you think is kind of the biggest driver that you've seen in your experience for having a profitable event venue?
I always say, when you do your business and you do it properly, the money will come. Okay. But one thing is, and I know people think, okay, I got to pay myself. I'll be honest with you. I have not paid myself the first 3 years of my business. None of my businesses ever, because I'm always having to invest in it. So
Right.
the thing is, you have to go in with that mindset, of not taking money out until your business grows. And I think it's important. A lot of people think, okay, it's an overnight thing, I'm going to get rich. You're not. You're not. It takes work, it takes building relationships, it takes knowing your who your client is, and sometimes you have to restructure. Sometimes you have to pivot, right, in order to see what works for you. When you first start a business, like for instance, when I first started my business, I was doing everything, and I wasn't making money. I was exhausted, so then I had to relook and get vendors in. But also, not only that, is that I was thinking I could do baby showers, I could do this, I could do this, I could do that, you know. But when I really found my niche and I'm niched down, I became more profitable. You know, I had an intimate, and once again, this is from having Jody as a coach from my wedding planning days, you know, niching down, finding what's going to bring you the most money. And for me, it was intimate events, you know, the intimate weddings, the elopements, the pop-ups, you know, and I translated all that over into my venue. So when I got my space, I was more profitable. So you might want to start small because you know people, and let me just say this, everybody think luxury. Like I said, the
Mm.
buying behavior has changed, even for luxury couples. They're not spending the 150 and 200 and 300 and 400,000 that they spent before. You know, people, we are in an economic crisis and people are holding on to their money. So start small. See what, you know, like I said, when you get your vendors and you get their pricing and you put it in the calculator, it'll show you what your profitability is for the year. And if you need to increase, decrease, then that template will allow you to do that. So you'll know what your profits are. But I tell anybody, start small and don't think you're going to get rich overnight. And don't be draining your bank account because you get, say, for instance, 20 or $30,000 in. Because, like I said, the heating system might go out and you're going to need that money. So understand that it's not an overnight get rich scheme. You know, it's going to take some time to cover your overheads, make a profit, and like I said, you'll have to pivot, and that's something you'll have to do on your own. And like I said, these templates that we have, that will help you do it. When you go in, it tells you what your expenses are, right? And then it'll let you know that if your packages and everything else that you're doing, your rental rates, your catering, if you're selling liquor, if that's covering your overhead costs and what your profitability is, you know, for the month and at the end of the year. So that's how you're really going to calculate that, because I can't tell you, just try different things because it's an ever changing market. Today, somebody, it may be one thing, and next week it's something else. Trends are constantly changing. And that's one thing you have to do as a venue owner or anybody in the industry, stay on top of what the trends are, you know? And that'll help you with your profitability as well. Because if you're on trend and people see that you're doing what's new in the market or something extravagant, or you know, that give them that wow factor, that will help your profitability at the end of the day as well. So I hope I answered your question.
You did. No, thank you. Actually, that was really good, Bonnie. And here's why. I think I see so many people out here who are marketing like in the venue space or wedding venue space, and they're always just telling people, you know, you can make $1 million in 3 months, you can make $250 in 3 hours. So I really appreciate when you shared that, just the fact that, you know, you went through the experience where you had 3 years in your business where you weren't even taking money out to pay yourself because the reality was you were figuring it out until you were profitable. You didn't want to drain your
Mhm.
resources, right? It was more important
Right,
to invest back into the business, right? So it's so
right.
important to understand that. Thank you so much for sharing that
Well,
because it
and
takes
Jody,
away
if I
the
can interject,
unrealistic expectation.
yeah, because I want to interject one thing. So, and I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus, but sometimes people look, sometimes the numbers don't be numbering. Okay. Um, you know, if somebody tell you I'm making 500, $300,000 a month, you know, um, go to their website, get the numbers, right? How much are they going to rent the space? And how many times a month can they rent that space? And even if you do upselling, cross selling, some of those numbers just don't add up. You know, it's just to get you to buy into the nonsense that's out here that's being sold. And
Oh, yeah.
and I'm just honest with you. Calculate it for yourself. Even if you go in and you say, they say, okay, they're renting tables and chairs for $10 to $12. Calculate it yourself, and you'll see it's no way that these people, you know, with the space that they have and the assets or the cross selling, upselling, you can't have that many venue events in a month to make that kind of money. So like I said, research. That's all you have to do, and calculate it, and you'll see the numbers that are not numbering. You know,
Will you make $1 million in 3 days after watching this video? Probably not, but you definitely will
never.
get a ton of really good business tips to take you on to the next step. So here's what I want Bonnie to do for us today. Bonnie, drop all the places where viewers can find you, connect with you, continue asking questions. pick your brain, pay for a session with you, whatever that is, give me all the links and I'll also drop them down below this video.
Okay. So you can find us on Instagram at BR Hawthorne Teaches. Also over on YouTube at BR Hawthorne Teaches. We have a channel there. Instagram, like I said, BR Hawthorne Teaches. And let me just say, people, there is a plethora of information on my Instagram page. I mean, in my stories, on my if you follow us there, if you want to book a strategy call, you can go to my website. We also have a digital course online. There's a plethora of templates to help you. There's an ebook to get you started. We're all over the internet. So if you Google us, you'll find us. But like I said, YouTube videos, Instagram, and then we have our website. And like I said, we do have a course that we just launched, and our course is $297. It has 19 modules. It has interviews. It has templates. You get to interact with me. You can drop questions. I'm going to respond to your questions. I mean, for $297, you can't beat it. It's almost like having your own private coach within the platform. Like I said, we're here to set you up for success. I'm not here to sell you some long story to make you think that this is a get rich quick scheme, because it's not. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of knowledge, research. Research is continual. Education is continual. And I'm very passionate. This is my life. This is my industry. I really don't like people in my industry selling us short, taking shortcuts, making us look bad. So, if you're going to be a commensurate professional, do your research, get educated, and just stay on the ball. Join some organizations, go to Wedding MBA, seek out. I may not be the coach for you, but seek out a coach. So that's all I have to say. Just be professional. Just be professional. The one thing I really hate to hear people say, "Oh, I went to a venue and there was a hole in the wall." Don't be that venue. That's all I have to say.
Well, thank you again, Bonnie, for coming back, for agreeing to do this video again. I know everyone watching is going to appreciate it. I know I did. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you once again.
Well, thank you for having me, Jody. I so appreciate it.